The palace burned in whispers before it burned in flame. From her balcony, Queen Catherine watched orange light climb the sky beyond the city walls, grain stores set alight by anger, not accident. Her reflection in the glass wore the same fire on her crown. Lord Archer stood behind her, armor half-buckled, face pale. Majesty. The guards say the rioters shout the princess's name. Catherine didn't turn. Do they? Or did you teach them? He flinched. I serve you, my queen. Then prove it. She turned at last. Bring me the source of their hope. Bring me my sister. Archer hesitated only a moment before bowing low. Yes, Majesty. As his footsteps faded, Catherine looked out again over Aramore. Smoke rose like prayers denied. The crown on her head felt heavier with every heartbeat. Not gold now, but iron. In the lower city, Elena moved through the streets, disguised in a peasant's cloak, helping the injured climb from the rubble near the burned granary. Her palms were black with soot. The air smelled of wheat and ash and panic. These are my people, she said to Lord Rowan beside her. She'll blame them for what her greed began. Rowan looked toward the hill where the palace loomed like a dark judge. She won't stop with blame. Elena paused, meeting his gaze. Then neither will I. He studied her for a heartbeat. The same calm eyes he'd seen across the council table now lit with something older, steadier. The city believes you, he said quietly. That's power even queens fear. Elena tied her cloak tighter. Power means nothing if it dies in the palace. Back in the throne room, Catherine waited in silence. Every creak of the doors, every echo from the corridor tested her patience. When Archer finally entered, dragging a hooded figure by the arm, the queen rose. You've brought her, Catherine said. Archer shoved the figure forward. Found her near the south gate, speaking to the people. Catherine stepped closer and pulled back the hood. A servant girl blinked in terror. No royal grace, only freckles and tears. The queen's lips curved in something between a smile and a wound. Not her. My queen. Find her, Catherine said softly. Or I will find you instead. By midnight, the fires in the city began to fade. But another kind of fire burned in the council chamber. Nobles whispered, their loyalty shifting like sand. Lord Varick muttered to Archer, If the people crown her, we're all finished. The soldiers won't strike their own kin. Archer's jaw tightened. They'll strike for gold. And if the treasury runs dry... Archer didn't answer. Catherine entered then, silencing them with a single glance. She carried no crown now, only a dagger at her belt. Let them burn, she said. Ash feeds soil. Lord Varick swallowed. Majesty, the people starve. Let us speak with the princess. Catherine's dagger slammed into the table, quivering inches from his hand. You speak too freely, my lord. He bowed his head. Forgive me. Catherine leaned forward. When I took this crown, I promised my father I would never beg the people for love. Love is fickle. Fear lasts longer. At dawn, Elena stood before the city gates. The crowd that gathered around her was quiet, not chanting, not angry, just waiting. She climbed onto a cart and looked over them, her voice steady even in the smoke-choked air. My sister is not my enemy, she began, but she has forgotten that a crown belongs to those who bleed for it. A murmur rose, tired, hopeful. We will not fight her, Elena said, but we will remind her. Tonight, no sword will rise, no torch will burn. We will stand in silence outside the palace until the queen sees the faces of her people. Rowan touched her arm. She may see you instead. I hope she does, Elena said softly. Night fell again. Thousands gathered at the palace gates, holding candles instead of weapons. The courtyard glowed like a sea of stars at the queen's doorstep. From her balcony, Catherine watched. At first, she saw only light, then faces. Then one face she knew better than her own. Elena, standing still among them, cloak torn, eyes lifted to the tower. For a moment, neither sister moved. The world held its breath. Then Catherine whispered, "She means to shame me before all." Lord Archer stood behind her, hand on his sword. "Say the word, Majesty." Catherine's fingers trembled as they touched the dagger at her waist. Her voice broke, just slightly. "No blood? Not tonight? Let them wait in their silence." But her eyes stayed locked on Elena's face below, and in them burned a hatred too proud to admit it was fear. The bells began at dusk, not the deep, proud toll of coronation, but the uneven clang of alarm and unrest, echoing across stone like the heartbeat of a wounded city. In the great hall of Aramor, the crown still rested on its velvet cushion. 2 crowns now, one of gold, one hastily forged from iron and silver, the mark of Catherine's coming purge. Catherine sat before them, hands clasped so tightly her rings had drawn blood. Around her, the nobles stood in uneasy clusters, eyes flicking to the doors each time they creaked. "Close the gates," she commanded. "No one enters until dawn." "But Majesty," stammered Lord Varric, "the people will wait." Her tone was final. Outside, torches moved through the mist. A sound like rain carried over the courtyard, but it was thousands of feet moving in unison. The crowd Elena had gathered, holding their candles like weapons of faith. From her tower window, Elena watched the palace flicker in the torchlight. Lord Rowan stood beside her, his expression calm, but his hand never left the dagger at his belt. "She will not come to reason," he said. "She doesn't need to," Elena whispered. "She needs to see." "See what?" "That the people she rules already belong to someone else, to hope." Inside, Catherine rose. "Summon my sister," she said. "If she will not kneel, she will at least stand in front of me when I end this." Archer bowed low, but even he hesitated. "If she resists?" Catherine's smile was cold. "Then history will call it mercy." He left, and she turned toward the twin crowns. The gold one gleamed, her father's legacy. The iron one dulled the candlelight, shaped hastily by her blacksmith to mark the new Aramor. She ran a finger over it. It bit her skin. Blood welled at her fingertip. She didn't flinch. "Everything worth ruling draws blood," she murmured. Moments later, the doors opened. Archer entered with 2 guards and the princess between them. Elena walked steadily, cloak torn, face streaked with ash, but her chin high. Catherine's eyes softened for a heartbeat, a flicker of the girl she once was, the one who used to braid Elena's hair before lessons. Then the mask returned. "You stand before your queen," Catherine said. "I stand before my sister," Elena replied, "and the crown that forgot what it meant." The court murmured. Catherine stepped down from the dais, stopping a breath away from her. "You have turned my people against me." "No," Elena said quietly. "You turned yourself." Catherine's hand twitched toward her dagger. "You speak as if you understand power." "I understand loss." Something cracked then, not loud, but final. Catherine's expression hardened, like frost forming on glass. "Then you will understand this," she said, reaching for the iron crown. "Aramor cannot serve 2 hearts. One must stop beating." She raised the crown high. The hall gasped, thinking she would place it upon her own head. Instead, she hurled it to the floor at Elena's feet. "Take it," she hissed, "if you think you deserve it." Elena looked down, at the crude metal, at the blood that had fallen from her sister's finger onto it. Then she knelt, not to claim it, but to lift it carefully, reverently. When she stood, she held the crown between them. "I don't want it," she said softly. "I only wanted you to remember why it matters." For the first time, Catherine's eyes glistened. But before she could speak, the hall doors burst open. A soldier stumbled in, breathless. "Majesty, the gates are down. The people are at the steps." Behind him, the roar of voices grew, not violent, but unyielding, chanting one word: mercy. The queen froze. Elena turned toward the sound, tears in her eyes. "Listen to them, Catherine. They still believe you can choose mercy." Catherine's gaze drifted to the window. Thousands of candles swayed below, glowing like a living sea. Her fingers brushed the dagger once more. Habit, fear, duty. And then, slowly, she let it fall to the floor. The sound rang through the hall like thunder. She stepped back, eyes locked on her sister. "You've won," she whispered. Elena shook her head. "No, we've both lost enough." Catherine looked down at the crown, the golden one, untouched. Then she turned, lifting her chin, and walked toward the balcony. The guards parted as she opened the doors. Cold air swept in, carrying the voices of her people. She stood at the railing, and for a heartbeat the city went silent. When she spoke, her words carried farther than any army. "My people," she said, "you deserve a queen who remembers you." She turned back toward Elena. "And I once was her." Then, without waiting for counsel or applause, she removed the crown from her head and set it on the stone rail. The wind caught her hair, her cloak. "Rule them better than I did," she said, and stepped back into the hall. Elena watched her walk away, not defeated, but free for the first time. At dawn, Aramore's bells rang again, but this time their toll was soft, not mourning, remembrance. 2 crowns rested side by side on the throne, one gold, one iron, both touched by blood and mercy. And beyond the balcony, the city woke to the first quiet morning in years.